Good evening, and welcome to another World of Warships video with Captain darkwingglacier. This replay was sent to me by Frankenstein 2014, who I will be referring to as Frankenstein from now on, and he is taking out his Tier IX French battleship, the Alsace, in a ranked battle in the 11th season. I have to agree that this is a good ship choice, as I have done relatively well using the Alsace during this season. I do have to say that the 11th season format had me feeling quite skeptical. This is the arms race format, which is, instead of the usual domination system of capturing multiple capture points, now we have to mainly go after buffs and kill the other team while trying, and then about halfway through the game a capture point appears, only one single capture point in the center of the map, and if your team succeeds in capturing that, the game is usually over extremely quickly as you gain points at a rapid rate. So I was skeptical of arms race because, one, it's very easy, or so it seems, for one team to quickly get an advantage, and then it snowballs into a rapid victory as their buffs are unable to be overcome by the disadvantaged team. Also, there was the fact that these buffs could appear anywhere on the map, sending everyone scattered all over the place, and people who had, say, a low concealment, fast destroyer would be able to get to these buffs faster than anyone else, adding to the snowball effect. But it doesn't seem to have worked out quite that badly. Most of the buffs, when they appear in the map, appear symmetrically, so each team has an equal chance of getting them, and usually, at least in the first half of the game, each team does get the same buffs to start off, so the advantage is spread out. So both teams get them. And as the game continues, then each team gets a slight advantage, but not one that is unovercomable. I guess that's a good word for it. So when I started playing this season, I tried a variety of my Tier 9 ships, and I ended up settling on ones that I seem to be doing the most consistently well on, which turns out to be the Musashi, the Jean Bar, and the Alsace. So I definitely have to agree with Frankenstein's choice for ship. He has taken out the Alsace with he has the perma camo, which I can also approve of. It's one of the ships that I have considered getting perma camo on, just because it's an excellent ship to play. He is running a 19-point captain on this ship, Jean-Jacques Honoré, and he also has kind of a blended secondary build. He has priority target, expert marksman, adrenaline rush, basics of survivability, superintendent, IFHE for his secondaries, and advanced firing training. He has deliberately chosen not to get manual secondaries because he wants the ability of the ship to fire all secondaries at any targets that come within his range. Now, my Alsace, I tend to run a full secondary build with manual secondaries, but that's definitely a choice. I always have to keep focused on keeping my targets allocated as fast as possible, but Frankenstein doesn't have to worry about that. The guns are just going to open up as soon as someone comes in range. So he takes a couple shots on the west side, and now he's focused on the Fletcher. His secondaries are firing away and trying to keep that guy out of that heal buff, which I have to say is one of the most powerful in the game. If your team can get multiple kill buffs, you are almost impossible to kill. Especially if you can get back into cover once you've taken a lot of damage. If you just stay hidden for a couple minutes, you're going to be right back up to full health. So Frankenstein is now moving upwards towards the western flank. He's trying to get this Fletcher to pop out behind the island and continue harassing him. The heal buff just comes down, and one of his teammates in the Z46 is in there, and he is able to get the buff for the team. The enemy Alsace is now within secondary range, so he is firing upon him. He's already up at 43,000 damage, which is not bad for this early in the game. I'd say the only other ship that I'm able to get this high this fast is probably something in the Musashi, just because of the alpha damage it does. So the enemy Alsace is stationary. I think he realized he got himself a little overextended and is trying to reverse And in the meantime, Frankenstein is now pressing his advantage. His secondaries continue to fire on both sides, both on against the Alsace and against the Fletchers, two of them that are in front of him right now. His health is doing pretty good, just in spite of all the fire he's been taking. Okay, there he takes a big hit from the Alsace, another big hit. So I think I spoke a little bit too soon there, but he is doing a significant amount of damage. And here come the friendly torpedoes that are going to take out the Alsace. But it's not the torpedoes that do it. It turns out it's the fire that Frankenstein had set on him. So that's kill number 1. So each team has now lost a ship. It looks like we lost our friendly Neptune. Neptune is another ship that I've considered taking into ranked this season because I've tended to do very well at it in randoms. But it also is extremely fragile, and maybe I'm just rusty with that ship, but the couple times I've tried it, I have not done very well in it at all. So I moved on quickly to other ships. Okay, the friendly Jean Bar is in serious trouble. I just saw him take multiple chunks of hits, and now he gets finished off by torpedoes. So Frankenstein's team is now down 2 ships to the enemy's 1. And most of the team is moving up the western flank, while the enemy is somewhat scattered more on the eastern side. The enemy does have a points advantage at this point, so it has an advantage of 1 extra kill and perhaps additional buffs as well. So as most of the team is moving towards the west, Frankenstein decides he's going to turn around and join them rather than get overextended to the south, isolated and killed. He does have a nice broadside shot on the enemy Donskoy, who is now turning into the shot, so he's probably going to avoid that. And a enemy Fletcher goes down to the friendly Black, which is good news, and that evens out the 2 teams, and it's definitely good to take down enemy destroyers whenever possible, because if you are stuck in a battleship and the enemy has destroyers left and you don't have any ships that can take on the destroyers, you can be in some serious trouble, and I found myself in that situation multiple times in the past. Now the Donskoy is slowing down, which is probably a mistake at this point, because he's leaving himself very vulnerable to a shot that Frankenstein is lining up right now. Shots are out, and this could be it for Mr. Donskoy. Yes, he gets a Citadel, he gets kill number 2. So now they definitely have the advantage. They have 4 ships to 3, and they still have both of their destroyers alive. However, Frankenstein is somewhat isolated compared to his teammates. He is in the south center part of the map, whereas his teammates are all over to the northwest.
Good game, everyone.
Okay, so as I spoke of before, I guess when 12 minutes remaining, the key area, the Alpha capture point, shows up in the center of the map, and it's difficult for each team to capture this as long as each team has someone in the center. But if you're able to scare the enemy team out of the center, you can complete this capture point, and then victory is essentially in your hands, or you will have an easy victory after that. So Frankenstein spots the Frederick the Great, passes over here. He gets the High Caliber Award. And both of these ships are good on secondaries. I don't know, at least the feel that I get is that the Alsace does have the advantage in secondaries against this ship. And the Frederick the Great is going to pop around the corner, and of course Frankenstein is waiting for that to happen so he can just hit him with a massive broadside as soon as he comes out from behind the island. It's going to determine whether or not, yep, he's showing his broadside. I was thinking he might have decided to turn away. Frankenstein shows off a little tip there. When you're shooting at a close range German battleship, when you're fighting against most other ships, you aim for the waterline to try to get a citadel, but because of the turtleback armor scheme of the German battleships, it's better to fire at the where the hull meets the superstructure, and that can find a sweet spot where you can get citadels, and he got 23,000 there. And the game is getting away from me here. Frankenstein's secondaries are able to take out the remaining destroyer, the Fletcher, on the opposing team. And in the meantime, he gets another decent hit for about 12k on the Frederick the Great. The Fletcher's torpedoes are coming up behind him, but he is fortunately able to avoid them. And now this is turning into a stern chase. Now this is a stern chase in which the Alsace definitely has an advantage because he can fire both of his 4-gun turrets forward, whereas giving 8 shots at once, whereas the Frederick the Great can only match that with 2 of his turrets, giving him only 4 shots in return. So he is going to have to turn and expose some of his broadside in order to do a lot of damage, or do the maximum amount of damage to the Alsace. The Alsace definitely is weak on the health department, though. The Frederick the Great, when they first started, he was about, I think, almost full health, whereas the Alsace wasn't doing that well. But he's at least giving as much as he's getting at this point, because the Frederick the Great is now below 50%. The Alsace is pretty much remaining steady. I mean, the Frederick the Great is doing his best, but it does not appear that his secondaries or even his main batteries are able to do too much damage. There, the enemy Jean Bart hits him with a long-range broadside, causing probably more damage than the Frederick the Great has done in the past couple minutes. The Frederick the Great has switched to HE, and I wonder if there's a damage saturation situation going on here, because, or maybe it was because he was firing at the turrets with his HE and the shells just shattered. But the Frederick the Great is probably extremely frustrated at this point, because this Alsace is just refusing to die. And he continues to close in, and his main batteries are getting ready to fire one more time, and let's see if we can finish him off with this one. Okay, he's showing plenty of broadside at this point, so he looks like he's aiming right for the armor belt. Gonna puncture right through it and get the kill, and that is kill number 4. Okay, looks like this guy in chat, Airborne Samurai, is definitely a Frankenstein fanboy. He's just constantly been complimenting him in chat and saying what a great shot he is and so on. But I mean, with 4 kills, he kind of deserves the compliments at this point. He's at 237,000 damage. He has a close quarters kill, and he has high caliber. So he has definitely earned his stripes in this game. Now the Jean Bart is far away, so the chance of getting a Kraken is probably relatively low for Frankenstein, because the other 2 ships are closer. He has the Iowa there and the Black, and here come the Black's torpedoes, which cause a significant amount of damage to the Jean Bart, reducing him to about 50%. But Frankenstein is closing the distance, and he does have a good broadside shot against the Jean Bart, so he's likely going to be able to do significant amounts of damage, but I would not put money at this point on Frankenstein being able to get the kill with the Iowa that close, and the Black as well. The Black actually looks like he's in trouble, because he is definitely within detection range of the Jean Bart, and I believe he does have smoke on, however, which will keep him alive for a little bit longer. Another good broadside shot by Frankenstein, followed up by one from the Iowa. This is gonna hurt. Yep, it does. It takes him down to about 21,000 health. Okay, the Black looks like he's now escaped from behind the island. The Jean Bart is definitely in trouble. He is essentially surrounded. And he is starting to angle away, so the shots that he is firing now are not going to be quite so effective. But he does get another significant chunk taken out of him. He sets them on fire. Here comes the Iowa shots. So the Jean Bart is definitely hurting. It looks like he's using the black smoke in an attempt to hide from his attackers. There he is. He's just peeking out from behind the island. Another broadside. Okay, this might be the Kraken right here. This could do it. No, not quite. He's down just to 400 health. And he gets the Kraken anyway. Close quarters kill. Last second, tiny little secondary shot. Takes out this guy. And this is an amazing game. 273,000 health. He gets Fireproof, 2 close quarters, Dreadnought, Kraken, and high caliber. Obviously, he comes in first place. That was a very exciting game. And look at all those kills filling up the detailed report screen. Excellent job. 134,000 damage on the Frederick the Great. So I'd like to thank Frankenstein for providing this video to me, and thank you very much for watching.